And we're back! Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, the podcast where Matt and Todd go see a movie and then we talk about it from the parking lot in Matt's car right after the movie. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and welcome to this episode. Yes, it's been a little bit for us. We took a little break during Oscar season. I was on a little mission with my wife to review all the Best Picture movies, and we got through all of them but one before the Oscars happened.
Fail. Oh.
Yeah. But tonight, Todd and I will be sharing our thoughts on one of the longest movie names in recent memory. We'll see if I can get it right. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I
I wouldn't be able to tell you if it wasn't, but if only I had a device that I could just whip out of my pocket, but here we are.
Here we are, yes. So what is this movie about? So I haven't seen the first Harley Quinn movie. I assume...
that was Suicide Squad. It was not her movie.
Excuse me. Yes, sorry. I haven't seen Suicide Squad, which did feature Harley Quinn. But basically what happens in this movie is she has broken it off with the Joker. She's not dating him anymore. And this movie has a bad guy called Black Mask who is after a diamond. And this is a special diamond that has secret codes engraved in it. And so we're introduced to all these characters. There's a pickpocket who ends up with the diamond, a little girl, and eats the diamond. And so the diamond spends most of the movie in the pickpocket's stomach. And then people are chasing her, and Harley Quinn is also chasing her and protecting her for part of the time. And then there's a cop, and there's a lot of minor DC characters who just come in and out of the movie, and basically it all revolves around this diamond is what's going on. And so then at the end there's a big fight scene, and the birds of prey come together. Harley Quinn, this pickpocket, the huntress, who's a crossbow master. A cop who's just a cop, really, but she is there, and played by Rosie Perez, and there's the Black Canary.
There you go.
Who ends up revealing a power that she has. It's super heroic, or at least a superpower. So they end up in a battle against Black Mask, who's played by Ewan McGregor, right? Yes. Okay. And
sorry, I would have confirmed earlier. I didn't know you were waiting for my confirmation.
No worries.
I didn't want to make it seem like I was leaving you hanging.
No worries. And anyway, that's the movie in a nutshell. We've got lots of superhero, supervillain, quasi-hero, am I good, am I bad feelings throughout the movie. And Todd, take it away. What did you think?
Well, there's a lot going on with this movie.
There is a lot going on.
And once again, we have a comic book inspired movie to which I feel like I am torn on in the sense of trying to separate the source material to what the movie was. I feel like I have to start with this. If you are a legit comic book fan who likes the Birds of Prey, specifically if you are a fan of Black Canary or the Huntress, Renee Montoya, or Cassandra Cain, I'm not sure if you're going to like this movie because it really doesn't do any of those characters justice as far as who they are in the comics. We're kind of just like, I feel like the closest one they kind of get to is maybe the Huntress and then maybe Renee. But then Renee is played by Rosie Perez, who we were discussing her age, which is kind of, we feel like late 50s. Again, if only there was a device that we could look that up. But I'm going to stand firm in our thoughts. And that's not who she is in the comics. So interesting choice was made. It's hard because I do like these characters. The actual Birds of Prey book is a book that I've read. I mean, I say that it's an ongoing book. I have not read anything recently.
And Todd, you're throwing around a little bit of comic lingo there.
Sorry.
A book is a comic book.
A book is a comic book.
Or a series of comic books.
Series of comic books. The original Birds of Prey book, comic book, lasted a while. It's had a couple of different iterations. Maybe the iterations that have come since the original that I've read are more what they're drawing from, but I just think if you're a big fan of the source material, I mean, if you're a loose fan like I am and you're you know it, but you know, whatever, then go in and watch the movie. If you are a huge fan of that book and those characters, I really am not sure if this movie did any justice to them. So that's my warning for comic book fans. All right, back to the movie. It's not that great. There's some fine action. I think Margot Robbie does a good job as Harley Quinn. I think Harley Quinn is just a massive character to embody at this point, and I think she does a good job with it. That being said, I don't think she was given much to work with. I mean, she's a producer, so I feel like she kind of has to take some of the credit, but script was not that great. Story was really just jumbled up, and I don't know if that's like a direction that they wanted to go, because at times in the movie you're seeing life kind of through Harley's eyes, and there are certainly parts of the movie where they make it kind of crazy because they're emphasizing you're seeing it through her eyes. She's crazy. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's me giving a little bit more credit to where it should be. I wanted this movie to be good. I knew that they were going to not care about the characters' origins. I knew they were just going to like kind of make this movie and shoehorn all the characters. I wanted it to be good. I don't feel like it's that good. But I still feel like it's in the realm of go see it for yourself. Don't just rely on someone else's opinion. Go see the movie for yourself if you're interested in it. If you're not interested in it and you know me and you like my opinion, then maybe it's not for you. But if there's any part of you that wanted to see this movie, go see it. Have your own opinion about it. I'm landing on not that great. And there was the comic fan side of me is pretty mad. I also feel like there was no reason. Nope, that's a spoiler. I'm not going to do that. All right. Backing off of that idea. But, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay. So I feel like, Todd, you've given the kind of, I understand who these characters are, sort of the comic book backstory, knowledge perspective. I'm going to give you I didn't see Suicide Squad, and I don't really know much about these characters except for what I've learned from playing Arkham Asylum.
I will say that you do not have to see Suicide Squad to see this movie. It really, she talks about what happened in Suicide Squad real fast in one toss-away line. Right. And the only other throwback that I could figure out or find was at some point she's in a police precinct and she points to a picture of a wanted poster of Captain Boomerang, who was in Suicide Squad. She was like, I know that guy. And that's it. Like, I
was wondering about that.
Yeah, it is out of nowhere, and you're like, that doesn't make any sense if you've not seen Suicide Squad. But I was like, oh, that's Captain Boomerang. I know who that is. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Proceed.
No worries. So my perspective is a little bit different. I would say this movie is pretty jumbled. And maybe, Todd, you're right when you say it's from Harley Quinn's perspective and it's jumbled because it's sort of like her retelling of it.
I think I'm giving too much credit.
But there's a device that's used a couple times where it's like, oh, I'm going to rewind time, and you actually have to watch it like you're rewinding a video cassette or a DVD or a Blu-ray disc or your stream. And you go back through it that way, and then you kind of play out a different way. And I could have used it all in one timeline, but that's a director's choice, and I don't think it was a good one.
Agreed.
A lot of I didn't know barely any of these characters coming into it, and I do think it's interesting that Todd, you mentioned the sort of the Harley Quinn being this major character. I feel like that's only happened over the last 10 to 15 years where
Well, the character Harley Quinn didn't exist until the 90s.
okay,
And it was created in the Batman animated series.
gotcha.
So before that, there was no Harley Quinn.
I see.
So
that
that's where
makes
the
sense.
Harley Quinn started. Right. And then it hasn't been until like the last, I don't know, I'm going to say 10 years loosely, that her character has evolved past just the sidekick to Joker.
Gotcha.
So they kind of, in the sense, the movie is correct in the fact that Harley Quinn in the comics has definitely evolved past blind, loving sidekick. Joker can do no wrong. I'm with him. Now they're not even together at all in comics, and she's kind of her own character. And it's almost like this, like, I'm gonna say, women empowering movement of I was in a toxic relationship. I'm out of that toxic relationship, and so you're right. Whereas the fact that this character has definitely blown up over the last 10 to 15 years has really blown up, but she also didn't exist before the mid 90s or whenever the early 90s maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's a fact for you, audience.
Thank you for that, Todd. I love hearing that backstory of Harley Quinn there. So my thoughts on the movie, if you like kind of superhero comic book style movies, and you like action movies, go see it. It's worth, if you like that style, those two styles of movie, I think there's enough here for you to enjoy your time at the theater. If you're not into comic books, or comic book movies or superheroes or anything like that, or you don't like action movies, this isn't for you. Pass on it. I would say overall, did I like it or not? I fall somewhere in the middle, probably slightly below average on this one. I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Matt, how many poopy diamonds would you give this movie?
Poopy diamonds. I would give it, I'm going to say 2 poopy diamonds out of 5. It, like I said, it was a little bit too jumbled for me. And if I had known more about the characters, I might have liked it more. Or maybe I'd like it less. Based on some of what you said. But anyway, I thought it was a fine superhero action movie. Not great. And as a movie in general, a little bit below average. So,
yeah.
2 poopy diamonds.
2 poopy diamonds. Yeah, I'm having a hard time with my rating, but I'm going to stick with my gut. I think I might be rating it a little bit higher than where I'm actually going to land, giving time to think about it. But I think I'm going to say like a 2.2.
Okay.
And definitely below average, I feel. But I'm trying to give some credit to the acting, because I feel like the acting was pretty fairly well, if not good, for certain characters. I mean, I think Ewan McGregor was fine, but his whole, and not to say it was his choice, but whoever's choice was it to make Black Mask a kind of like crazy Joker replacement, basically, was a bad move, because it didn't fit. Like, you don't have the Joker in the movie because you take out the kind of crazy man, but then you put in a secondary crazy man, like, and it makes no sense. And I will admit that the Black Mask is a character I don't know much about in comics, but of the comics I've read with him in it, there's nothing to say that he's like that. He's just like a gangster. So that was a really bad move to me. You didn't need to do that. But all the acting was pretty good. So I wanna highlight that a little bit. And like I said, I do think Margot Robbie has really embodied this character. This movie never would have been made if she didn't pioneer it. So give a little credit to that. So I'm going to stick with 2.2. Even though I feel like tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up and be like, what are you thinking, Todd? It's more like a 1.8. So I'm sticking with it.
Okay. Well, before we fully wrap up, we just wanted to mention that Todd and I will be doing a guest appearance on the What's Your Favorite Movie podcast with our friend Ed. And we're going to be reviewing the Oscars, Best Pictures focus, and talk a little bit about that awards show that happened just recently. So if you like hearing us, you can hear us in that venue. You can search for What's Your Favorite Movie podcast, and I'm sure you'll find it.
Yeah, he's on all the...
He's on all the platforms
all the
like
platforms.
us.
Not hard to find at all.
Yep. So check that out if you want to.
Or you can also go back to listen to our individual episodes on that podcast. So we both have been guests on it.
It's true.
You a lot earlier than me, but
Yep.
I think what were you, like 7?
I that sounds right.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
and I
pretty
was
early.
like in the 20s, I think. Maybe.
Yep.
So
yeah, a lot of episodes of that podcast out there if you want to take a listen to, sort of a friend, a co-podcast, a friend, podcast relationship, a podcast ship. Am I allowed to use that term?
you may have just coined it.
Yeah. So, yeah. But wrapping things up here today on this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed Birds of Prey, the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn, and we gave it on average a 2.1 and said, meh,
Yeah.
see it if you want to, but we don't really recommend it as a great movie. So
On the money.
thanks for listening, and keep on listening.
Da 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 da
Da-da.
da da da.